Xin chào everybody, welcome back to Boi Boi's Life, where I talk about life, identity, and everything else in between. And I'm your host Jacqueline, and today we're gonna be talking about Vietnam, but not just literally, emotionally, spiritually, and culturally, all of it. Heartbreaking characters in animation. Diane Nguyen from BoJack Horseman. But also me, because while Diane went to Vietnam to find herself, I never had to go searching. I was always rooted there. So this episode is for anyone who's ever felt like a tug of war between who they are and who they were told to be. So let's get into it. Let's talk about that episode where in BoJack Horseman, Diane packs her bags and flies to Vietnam after her divorce from Mr. Peanut Butter. She's burnt out, disillusioned, and trying to rewrite the story of her life. And what's really funny was when I first met my now fiance boyfriend back then, this was the first episode I watched with him. He's already seen BoJack Horseman. I think it was already 2 to 3 seasons in, and instead of restarting from season 1 and getting me on track of what the hell is happening, this was the first episode ever when I watched BoJack Horseman. So it's quite special because one, she's Vietnamese. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's an actual animation character that's Vietnamese. And I never felt that. I think because growing up, I was watching a lot of Asian dramas that I didn't see any representations or any Asian identity over on the West side. So I think that's probably why it didn't resonate with me on the West side, Hollywood and those kind of things. But this episode, and Diane really spoke to me, and she was one of the first Vietnamese characters that, I watched. And yes, there are a lot about older movies, Apocalypse Now, and I think like Miss Saigon, I think that's like a musical as well, but I never watched any of those. But for this episode, with Diane going to Vietnam, this really spoke to me. So Diane, she's Vietnamese, but she doesn't speak the language. She's never been to the country. She doesn't even know her relatives, and the saddest part, she doesn't feel like she belongs anywhere. And there's a line in the episode that crushed me a little bit when Diane says, I came to Vietnam hoping that being here would make me feel something that would prove that I'm really Vietnamese, that I belong somewhere. She wanted a sense of identity, something to hold on to. But what she found was isolation, and that really hits hard. Here's where my story is different. I didn't need to find Vietnam. I lived it. Even though I grew up in a small white town where no one looked like me, sounded like me, or even ate the same things as I did, my roots were always strong. I went to Vietnam every year growing up. I spoke Vietnamese fluently because my TV only played Vietnamese dubbed Asian dramas by choice, right? And I had, Disney movies and shows. I had cable. So yeah, I had cable growing up as well. And I knew all my aunties, uncles, cousins, and I wasn't just aware of my culture, I was immersed in it. So when Diane was wandering the streets of Hanoi, searching for a connection she never had, I was back in Canada, missing my cousins in Saigon, and remembering the smell of the street food and the way the scooter buzzed through the streets. And I felt the opposite of Diane. I never questioned whether I was Vietnamese enough. I just was. And yet I still relate to her because like Diane, I also feel lost sometimes. Not culturally, but emotionally in life. And especially right now, not having a job, being in this reflection stage, wondering what the next step is, wondering what kind of life I want to live, wondering who I'm meant to be, even when I know where I'm from. And here's the twist. Even though I've always been connected to my roots, that doesn't mean that I've always felt whole. There are people who are fluent in their mother's tongue, but not in their emotions. There are people who know how to make traditional dishes, but don't know how to nourish themselves. There are people like me who can speak the language of their ancestors, but sometimes struggle to speak up for themselves. Culture gives you a foundation, but it doesn't always give you direction. And just like Diane, I've also gone through those what now moments where everything looks right on the outside, but inside you're spiraling. She tried to fix her burnout by going somewhere far, but what she realized, and what I realized, is that the only way to heal is to go inward. The difference is I had support. I had tradition. I had a map, even if I didn't know where I was going. Vietnam taught me values, karma, compassion, and sacrifice. Those Vietnamese dramas that I watched growing up, they weren't just entertainment. They were education. I learned how to read people, how to tell who was honest, who had good intentions, and who didn't. It made me emotionally intelligent, even when I didn't know the words for it. So when Diane felt like a tourist in her own story, I felt like a citizen in mine, and that gave me strength. Even now, when I'm rebuilding my life, I might not have the 9 to 5. I might be figuring things out, but I have something stronger than a salary. I have a story. If you're listening to this and you feel like Diane, lost, disconnected, questioning everything, just know this. Your identity isn't something you can go on vacation to find. It's something you uncover by peeling back the layers of who you really are. You don't need to speak the language to feel the love. Heck, my fiance is Chinese, so whenever I go to his side of the family, they all spoke Mandarin. But I didn't feel like an outsider. I still felt the love, despite not knowing Mandarin. You don't need to know every tradition to carry its wisdom, and you don't need a plane ticket to come home to yourself. If you have a strong connection to your culture, cherish it, share it, lean into it. And if you don't, it's never too late to start exploring. And more importantly, you don't need to earn belonging. You already do. So let me ask you, have you ever felt disconnected from your culture? Or maybe like me, you've always been rooted but still feel lost in other ways? What are your dramas or movies or entertainment that taught you life? Who are the people or places that grounded you? I want to hear your story. Comment down below, inbox me, DM me, share this episode with someone who needs it, or just sit with it, let it marinate, reflect. We're not just here to exist. We're here to understand ourselves. Diane Nguyen was looking for herself in a place that she's never been. I found myself in a place that I've never left. And somehow, both stories are valid. Both journeys are sacred. So whether you're searching, settling, or somewhere in between, you're not alone. You're never alone. So thanks for listening, and until next time, be kind to yourself and remember, your story is still unfolding and it's worth telling. So please like this video, comment, share, and follow my channel for more episodes, and I'll see you next time in the next one.